Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my Intro to Analytics class. Again, I'm Chad Murphy. I'm known as Soccermetric on Twitter, and today we're going to walk through some of the philosophy of analytics. One of my concerns is that this maybe won't be the most exciting videos. We're not actually going to do any actual analytics in this course, or in this video, excuse me. And we're not going to do any hypothesis testing or anything like that, but I think it's really important to talk about the philosophy of analytics, to talk about what are we doing. There was Mango again. We're two for two. So talk about the philosophy of what we're doing. Talk about, there he is over my shoulder, what we're doing, why we're here, what the point of all of this is. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So what is analytics anyway? This idea seems mysterious to many of you and filled with math and other scary things, but it's really not. It's really something you do all the time. We're just putting a more formal name to it and a more formal procedure to it as well. Really, all you're doing here is making observations about the world and attempting to see if those observations are true in a larger context. Our eyes can deceive us. We see patterns that aren't there. Human beings are horrible at noticing patterns even when they don't exist. Even we think things occur because of some reason they don't. All sorts of reasons. Recency bias is a big one. The things you've seen more recently affect your decision making a lot more. Things like excitement. If you see an exciting moment, it's why gambling makes so much money. Big wins, big losses, we tend to remember far more than we remember sort of the humdrum grind of trying to win at a poker tournament, for example. Same goes for soccer. You remember the exciting moments. You remember the crazy goals. You don't remember the passes that got you there. If you're Coutinho, you remember that 1 out of 100 shots that went in from 20 yards outside the box. You forget the other 99 that missed badly and cost your team possession. We remember these sorts of things. We remember the exciting moments. We remember all sorts of things. We create patterns in our mind, and that's potentially a problem. That potentially makes us bad at observing things. So analytics is just a way of formalizing these observations and testing them on a larger sample. That's all there is to it. You're asking questions, you're making observations, you're testing hypotheses. It's just like your time at the 5th grade science fair, whatever grade you did the science fair, but at a higher level, hopefully at least, right? I mean, we're trying to just do these things in a more systematic, better way than we were. That's all there is to it. So any of you are coming in with the idea of this is beyond me, or this is too much, I can't do math, or maths as my British friends say, don't worry about that. All we're doing is formalizing your observations and testing them to see if they're true or not. This is something you do all the time. So how do I get started, you might ask? And if you're asking that, it's a very good question. Let me tell you. There's a few different ways you can start. The first is, what are you interested in? What do you care about? Why are you doing this? Like, what's the point of this? If this is for you, then you should start off with something as simple as that. What leagues do you follow? Do you follow the EPL? Do you follow Serie A? Do you follow La Liga in Spain? Do you follow women's leagues? Do you follow the NWSL in America or any of the other women's leagues around the world? What do you follow? What games are you interested in? What players are you interested in? What things are you interested in general? Do you care about maybe attack or midfield or defense? There's some great work being done. Sam Jackson on Twitter does some great work on goalkeepers, and no one else is really doing that, especially at the level Sam does it. No one else is doing that. DeepXG does some work on defensive positioning and where your patch, he calls it, is. What area are you supposed to defend? What do you care about? That's really the biggest thing here. If you're not enjoying it, you're probably not going to keep up with it. The next place to look is, what questions do you have? The simplest one is, who's going to win a game? And that leads you to the world of prediction models. This is the sort of thing I do with most of my work, at least my statistical work, is predicting outcomes of games. It's a fundamental thing we care about. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? Who's going to win the title? Who's going to lose? Who's going to come in fourth? These sorts of questions we care about. Another popular one on soccer Twitter is, what types of shots are most likely to turn into a goal? Expected goals models are huge on soccer. And all that is somebody going to score? When they take a shot, what are the odds they're going to score? It's formalizing the logic of they won against the run of play. You've heard pundits say that. Real football men say that all the time. It's just formalizing that logic, adding some numbers to it, adding a formal version of that rather than just relying on our eyes to see who won. You can look at something like, what's the deal with Leicester City? I'm recording this in February of 2016. I'm not sure when people are going to watch it, but this is obviously Leicester's in the middle of their amazing run right now, their historic run. They were, as last time I saw, had the biggest increase of any team in history. What's going on with them? How'd they get there? How much of it is luck? How much of it is skill? How much is it we just all underestimated them? Will they stay top, or will they eventually fall to Arsenal or Spurs or potentially Man City? As a Man City supporter, probably not going to fall to Man City, it looks like. Hopefully I'll be proven wrong, but I've become an Arsenal supporter in that my model predicts them, and I prefer being right. But the point is, what's going to happen with Leicester? It's a big question going on right now. The other side, what's the deal with Chelsea? We don't know what's going on. It's interesting to study, and if we can find answers to those questions, that would be great. These are all important, interesting analytics ideas. Maybe that's something you're interested in doing. So you're not excited about any of those ideas. Okay, fine. Maybe you're interested in doing this for a career. Maybe you are part of the media right now and you're looking to maybe add some analytics to your toolkit. Maybe you're looking to read analytics articles if you're in the media so you can maybe better understand the way the field is going. Okay, if you're looking for a career, then you should go toward those specific questions. The OPTA puts on a forum every year, and where they invite speakers to come out, and they invite a number of people from different clubs around the world. There's a number of American clubs, European clubs, all over the world. People coming out to see what's going on, to see what the state of analytics is. And the big way you get into that conference is by doing work that clubs care about. What are the topics that clubs care about? Goalkeeper analysis was part of it. Sam Jackson presented. There was a model of individual player performance, things like that. All these sorts of things that teams care about. How do we pick a new player? Well, if that's what you're interested in doing, then that's the direction you should probably go. Think about, what do teams care about? What are they looking for? Maybe you're looking to get a bunch of Twitter followers. I've been very fortunate to pick up a lot of Twitter followers very quickly with Motzen, my prediction model of the same old nonsense. And I've been very fortunate to pick up a lot of followers very quickly through that. People enjoy who's going to win and who's going to lose, specifically when you predict Arsenal is going to win. So if your analytics are, why is Arsenal so amazing, you could probably pick up a lot of followers very quickly. What does the mass public care about? If your goal is to get a lot of people reading your stuff, think about topics people care about more maybe than you. Expected goals models are huge in this type of work. Similarly, prediction models, like I said, one of the downfalls of that is, one, if you're not doing things you care about, you might not keep doing it. And two, if you're doing something other people are already doing, then you basically have to do it better than they are. That can be a challenge. But in this course, you'll learn to do this stuff quite well. So maybe that can be the way you go. Another area to go is, and this is something I picked up from political science, political media and pundits especially drive me crazy with their wild predictions with no factual basis behind it. All the soccer journalists who follow me, obviously, and anybody's watching this, you all are great. You're doing great work. Everything you do is right. This will just be the cherry on top. But there's this sort of controversy between the real football men versus the analytics types. There was a couple columns a few months ago, not to revisit the craziness on analytics Twitter those days, but where was a debate between the real football men who go out that cold, rainy Tuesday night in Stoke and watch to see who the best player is, compared to the stats geeks who sit with a spreadsheet in their air-conditioned office. Well, there's nothing wrong with applying some sort of logic to what you're doing, applying some sort of formal logic to it, rather than just relying on what you saw when you were freezing and more concerned about staying warm. You can go that way. What does the media get wrong? Finally, you can look at, what is no one else saying? What is no one else doing? And maybe that's the way you want to go. Not a lot of people study defenders or goalkeepers. Even not a lot of people study midfielders. We love attack, but we don't care about sort of what builds up in the attack as much. Find something no one else is doing. Maybe that'll be your niche, and maybe that will get you the audience you're looking for. At the end of the day, though, really it's about what you want to do. These are all just suggestions on how you can pick your topic and how you can get your start in soccer analytics if that's what you're looking to do. The big thing you want to do is start with a topic first, then worry about the math later. Think about it. The best analogy I can come up with is, world-class chefs go out and come up with an idea for what they want to cook first, build a recipe, then buy the ingredients. Coming up with a math first and then building a topic to it is doing things in the wrong order. So don't do that. Start with the idea, start with the logic of this first, then we'll go into the math later. The next thing you need to deal with is the so what question. In academia, we worry about this quite a bit of why do people care about your research? Why do we care? Why is this important? Who will be interested in this? And those are the biggest things you need to worry about, especially in the beginning. Think about your elevator pitch. And for those who don't know the story behind this, the idea is that you're stuck in an elevator for 30 seconds with someone who's going to hire you for a job or who's going to try to read your article in this case. And you need to convince them that what you're doing is interesting. And you only have these 30 seconds to do so. Why is this interesting? Why is it important? There's a famous political scientist who doesn't let his PhD students start their dissertation until they come over to his house for dinner and convince his wife in a minute or less that their topic is interesting. If they can't do that, they don't get to start their dissertation. Think about why we care about your topic and why what you're saying is interesting, rather than, again, building behind the methods. The whole point of this is I want you all to think about the theory of analytics, think about the procedure, think about the idea. Think about just using evidence to answer a question to tell us something we care about soccer, rather than simply applying math to something and trying to look smart. There's too much of the latter, in my opinion, out there on Twitter and in soccer journalism right now, not enough of the former. So I really want to see you all think these things through. The idea is to use theory to discuss things, and theory is just a fancy word for an idea of how the world works. Without a broader theory, we're just reduced to observing things with no understanding of why they happen or really what's going on. We're seeing a bunch of people kick a ball around. Maybe it goes in the goal, maybe it doesn't. Maybe a team wins, maybe a team loses. We don't know why. We don't have a lot of thoughts about this. When theory comes into play, that's when we start to understand things better. This should, maybe it sounds complicated, but it shouldn't. Because we do this all the time. You're at the grocery store, you look to see which line is faster, which line will get me out of here quicker. You count the number of people, you look at the people in the line, you say, oh, there's an old lady who's probably going to write a check. Oh, she's got a lot of items in her basket, whatever it is. You're thinking, okay, which one's going to get me out of here faster? Which lane of traffic is going to be faster so I can get home quicker? Who's going to win the soccer game this weekend? When you do these things, you have reasons. When you answer these questions, you have reasons for why you believe them. Analytics just formalize this logic. That's all you're doing. You're taking the logic and you're applying it to questions and you're thinking it through in a formal way. You're not just looking at the world and saying, oh, look what happens. You're trying to explain why things happen the way they do. That's the point of what you're doing here. That's why we do analytics, not just to show off a fancy math. That's all I have for this lecture. Thank you all for watching. One more quick reminder, please follow me on Twitter at Soccermetric. And please, 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 if you enjoyed this, share this as widely as you can. I'd love as many eyes on this video as I can get. I think it's really important. The more people who watch this, the more videos I put together, the quicker I put them out. I'm not looking for any money or anything from this. So all I ask in return is you just tell a friend. Post this on Twitter, talk about what you're doing. Help me get more eyes on this, because the more eyes that do it, the more excited I will be for the project, and the quicker the new videos will come out, and the longer I'll keep doing it. So thank you all very much, and I look forward to the next part of this lesson.